It's happy.
Yeah.
There's no negative.
Other than this story right here.
This is the best
Sadly.
hobby in the world.
It is.
It
Dirk,
sure
you'll
is.
Give us a countdown. We're going to launch this with one of my favorite people in the world.
There you go.
Up here, 3. Here we are, coming on the eve of the NMRA Nationals in Kansas City. This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, number 44, with all the news and current news in the hobby. Plus, I've got some great guests tonight. Lionel Strang, one of my favorites. Show number 44. Get yourself some coffee. This is the best hobby in the world.
I love you, Ken.
I love you, Lionel. The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Athearn Trains. Check out all their new monthly announcements at athearn.com. And by Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com. Scaletrains.com. Innovative Scale Trains. Check out their website at scaletrains.com. And thank you very much for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, number 44 for August 4th, 2018. Guys, welcome to the show that involves the best hobby in the world. My name's Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And tonight I've got with me our favorite Daniel Coombs.
Hello.
I know.
Yay,
Barton.
yay.
Hi, guys.
Joshua Barton. I've got Lionel Strang.
From
all the way-
Canada.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
My name's really Lionel.
Is it Lionel?
Yep.
Is it? Okay. And Michael Budde over here, our favorite car master.
Yeah, that's
We've
for sure.
got Joshua.
No,
we've got,
I'm here twice.
No, you're here twice. We've got Dirk Reynolds on camera number 1 and Austin Allard helping us with camera number 2. And Mitchell is making sure we're doing all of this right tonight. And I think we're going to get it right. And we're going to start out with some new news. And that is some great positive news. And that is I talked to Blaine Hadfield last night. And he has announced this week Arrowhead Model's first freight car, and it's the committee design hopper car. I've got some great, beautiful screenshots off of a videotape that Blaine Hadfield had just put on the internet. This is a gorgeous car. These are absolutely available now to be shipped to you, so check it out at Arrowhead Models, or of course check Caboose Hobbies. I'm Caboose in Denver, Colorado. Oh, there was a dollar jar when I need it. Now,
Yep.
Also in new news, Joshua was going to help me with this story. As you may have heard through the grapevine of the internet, AFFA Technologies, a factory in China, has ceased operations as of Friday, July 27th. And this has affected a lot of the U.S. model railroad manufacturers that we are aware of, in that they're going to have to, sell the product that they've already got in stock, because simply they're not going to be able to make anything else until they all find different new factories to go to and get their products remade at. We've seen this in the industry in the past. So these folks that are very experienced businessmen, I'm pretty sure are going to figure out a way to navigate through this. This is just part of the hobby when you're in the industry. But Joshua, tell me what companies were affected by this, where they may have to not have pre-orders right now for a lot of products because they don't know where they're going to be manufactured at.
Well, it's a pretty extensive list so far. It's American Z Lines, Atlas, but only apparently their N-scale rolling stock. The Buford shops, Bowser, Exact Rail, Fox Valley, Intermountain Railway, Lionel,
Yes.
Spring Mills Depot, and Trainworks, Wheels of Time, and then Micro Trains, but only their front mechanism.
Wow. And there's a few other manufacturers that are rumored to be on the list, but until I receive confirmation, and I put a lot of phone calls in, and I've talked to, in fact, various individuals, these owners of these companies this week, and it's very heavy in their mind. But as I've heard over and over again, this is something that can be worked out. There's plenty of other places to manufacture product, and I'll even go out on a limb, and I said this to a few of them. I think there should be an American co-op formed where all these manufacturers pool together their money, create one facility, and have their products all made there. There would have to be a management team there, so everybody got fair, scheduling of their products, and there wouldn't be any fights break out. But I think something like that would be a very neat answer. You can get cornfield land cheap in the middle of the United States and throw up a Butler building, and next thing you know, you got 100,000 square feet to fill with machines.
I can do management. I'm good at management.
Right. His name is Lionel.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody affected by this will prevail, and yes, Arrowhead Models was one of the companies added to that list. Blaine Hadfield, in fact, said yes, he's also going to be affected by it, but Blaine's lucky he got his tooling back already. So this is a happy show, but that's the reality of life, and everybody, let's just wish them all the very best.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So, guys, I didn't write down very much tonight because I knew Lionel would talk, and
Exactly.
I know all you guys would talk. So tell us, Lionel, what are you doing here? How'd you get yourself in this situation?
I have to get one piece of business out of the way.
Okay.
Oh, first off, this is like the coolest thing. This is the most so much hospitality. Joshua brought all this food, and I need to tell everybody before we get very far that what the layout looks like on the videos is exactly what it looks better in person.
Oh, you
It's
mean
spectacular.
The layout down here.
The layout
it
down
does.
here. Well, the layout this way. Well, actually, that brings me to
Mitchell, grab me a.
that brings me to a topic. I'm talking.
Okay.
I'm talking.
What's it? Yeah.
I was just getting my
Well,
drink,
don't
drink
be
passed
don't
over
be
here.
interrupting me.
How rude.
So, anyways, I have a friend that lives in Appleton, Wisconsin. So these new mics, this is a good sound, but you used to have one mic.
One microphone, so we all had to yell at once into the campfire.
So I have a friend in Appleton, Wisconsin, Kevin Marks, who's watched he says 100 of your shows, and he liked the old mic because you used to wear 2 pairs of glasses, and now you only wear. Okay, so I brought mine too. All right, so I'm going to do it too.
They could be the twins.
It's hard to wear 2 pairs of glasses with these headphones
I know
on.
it's
Yes.
just hard.
Now, a lot of people complain about the headphones. Oh, you guys look funky. But the fact is, you
We
really
do.
need to be able to hear yourself
Yep.
with the sound equipment, because using these microphones is pretty tricky. We've got to stay very close to them. I got 4 lapel mics on the way, so we're working on it, guys, one step at a time.
And last
Okay.
show number 43, you had those guys. You had Matt Herman from ESU.
Oh my God, how about that show?
That was an awesome
That,
show.
I think, reached over 12,000 hits.
Wow.
However, I think this show may be better. But anyways,
That's only because you're on it.
you had Matt Herman and you had George Bogatuk and a cast of thousands, but they didn't bring any presents, and I brought presents. Look, there's a sticker, Modeler's Life
Yeah,
sticker.
thanks,
there's
Lionel.
a sticker.
Yeah, he actually.
And
What is
there-
this? A modeler's life.
A
Now, what's-
Modeler's
what's
Life.
that
That's a
all about?
podcast.
I like
That's my
this,
podcast.
see?
Look, Mike,
So
there's
Lionel
a
Strang's
very
got a
poker chips.
podcast.
Yes.
I do. And there's a poker chip from our last barbecue and lapel pins. You guys can wear these from now on.
All right.
And, Mike, I always notice you're wearing these cool T-shirts.
Yes.
So I brought you a Modeler's Life T-shirt.
Awesome. Thank you.
Now,
Well,
Joshua
it's 20
suggested.
It's $20.
I must tell you, businessman Joshua over here, who I really rely on because he's so smart with a lot of different things, suggested that we get some shirts made.
Yes.
I saw somebody at the last convention with a Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine shirt on. In fact,
Really?
they were on one of the podcasts that we did, and I was watching them. They were standing next to Chris at a trade show.
Yeah.
And that got Joshua talking. Why don't we just, wear a shirt that says what's neat on
Yeah.
it? Or
Maybe-
something.
Absolutely.
Like what's
Somebody
neat
needs to come up
and-
with a logo or something.
Well, what's neat with maybe our name, so it'd be our shirt
Yeah.
in a sense, you know.
What's neat? All you need is what's neat. Actually, what's neat? Show 44 starring Lionel Strang.
That has a nice
shirt.
ring
See
to
my
it,
shirt? There's
actually.
my shirt. Dirk, get a close up on this shirt, would you please?
As long as it doesn't have my picture.
Is
on
that
it.
a barbecue stain right there?
Yeah,
I think so.
Joshua,
look
yeah,
at
the
that.
beautiful barbecue. So I've met everybody. Mike, Buddy, and I have talked for a long time on Facebook. We've never met. Ken, I know. Daniel, I've never met, and he's as cool as he seems. And Joshua, I've never met. And Austin, we over there working the camera, I never met. This is so cool meeting all you guys in person. This is kind of like the road to model railroading now passes through this studio.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on this layout?
7 years, maybe 8.
Too long.
No, come on, it's got to be. Is that all?
No, yeah, it's not that old. There was one point Dave's like, I'm not coming over to your house anymore because your layout just stays the same, and it was literally foam for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, I just didn't get much done. I mean,
It looks so finished now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful now.
the What's Neat show makes me have to do a lot more on it, so it gets done quicker.
Right.
And it gets to change all the time, so the show's paying for me to build a new layout, sort of in a way, to create material.
And what's the overall size?
It's 157 feet around. The room is 30 by 60.
Okay. And how old are
And
you?
I wish it was bigger because I need
Oh,
a
look at
bigger
that.
studio
That's
down
very
here.
cool.
I'd love to have a big studio outside so we could set this all up in a
Yes.
50 by 50 room and lounge chairs and just do it upright. Do it upright because there's no reason not to be the best we can be at this. I mean, you see the professionals on TV, you see CNN. Why can't we have that? There's no reason why we cannot produce a show of that quality. Get this. There's no excuse. The technology's out there. So we can make this work.
Well,
So
and you
anyway,
could make stickers,
Don't get
too.
me started on
You
that
can make
because I got a
stickers.
lot of plans and a lot
Let's
of great
get the set
ideas.
from
And
Mike
poker
Douglas.
chips.
More
These
to come.
Are these poker chips? Are
Yeah.
these worth money?
Yeah.
That is a poker chip. How much is
I-
that chip worth? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'll take those.
Oh,
There
gosh.
you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. So,
I like free things.
and then you
always
got,
say.
and I want to tell everybody too, outside is just like it seems on the videos. This all seems exactly like it seems on the videos, only better.
I know, and you know what? This is
Agreed.
about to be
It's
one
in
of my.
3D.
This is one of my most
High
favorite
def.
segments coming up. But this is a segment where I know I'm going to have to work.
Okay.
And before we go into the two sponsors that I want to talk about, you're sitting next to Michael Budde.
Mike
Master
Budde.
car builder.
Mike Buddy's going to talk about cars and freight cars tonight.
Well, the first thing I have is I brought all the vehicles that I took to the RPM. So that little telephone truck is representative of the vehicles, but I left them here with Ken so you can take some pictures outdoors. But they're all HO vehicles that are either John Tyson shrunk from 1/64th scale, or Jens Jan mad about cars on Shapeways, or RPM 87 RPM. The owner of that company recently passed away, so Peter Rings is trying to manage the business now with 87 RPM, so you can go through him to find some of those models. The train cars I got from the show, they're all tangent models. I just weathered them this week. This red one is the 4180 air slide hopper, and it was of course bright red when I got it with MKT, but I wanted to weather it to late 70s era. This car, I told David Lelbach that I wanted to have a really nice car to cut the side open and use the aluminum foil technique on it. And so I got this car that was damaged, but it turned out being so nice that I didn't want to cut it up. And it was in the Missouri Pacific as delivered scheme with a black roof and a different number. So I brought it up to 78 or 79 standards by repainting the roof and renumbering the car. Then that gondola there is the Penn Central. I think it's a G43C, but I weathered that using oil paints, and the interior was stuff that I swept up after a piece of heavy equipment was moved. There was a bunch of scaly, rusty stuff on the floor. Of course, seeing it with that modeler's eye that we all have, I swept it up and saved it, and I've weathered a lot of gondolas like that, spraying either rust-colored or gondola paint into the gondola, then dump some of that rusty stuff in there and just swish it around and dump the excess out. Looks
Mike,
pretty
you
nice.
you have a video for that, don't you? Didn't I see that on Facebook?
I don't know, maybe.
I think that's where I saw it. I think you
Yeah.
put it on there.
Everything's starting to run together now.
I know.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been modeling vehicles for, they're just spectacular. Like, when did you start modeling, actual vehicles?
Well, I've always kind of done that. Actually, when I was a kid, I started building car models first,
Right.
1/25th scale. So I've never really given that up. I still do that, and it competes for time with my train models. But I like working on these 187th models. They're a lot easier to complete. You can get them done a lot quicker than the
Do you
125th.
have like special techniques? Because they seem so, like it's small. It's like, do you have special tools, or you just kind of get an idea and away you
Not
go?
really. I use stuff I've used since I was a kid: toothpicks, single-edge razor blades,
Yeah.
spray cans. I don't really use an airbrush.
Really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
I do occasionally, but the vast majority of my work is just with brushes and spray cans.
So how long did it take you to complete that vehicle?
That bell truck, that's actually a River Point Station utility bed, and all I really did on that was replace the cab with a Trident Chevy cab to bring it into my 1979 era.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
yeah, and then repainted it.
You just
Okay.
can't leave it alone, man. If it's stock, it doesn't look right. It's off
Yeah,
the showroom,
yeah.
and Mike can't have that because out in the real world on the street, they're not
Yeah.
out of the showroom, right?
Well,
Right.
That's what we all do.
You're
Yeah.
amazing, Mike. And quite honestly, what I got from last week's prototype modelers meet, and guys, we all had fun at that, was that a lot of people really appreciate your segments on the show about cars because, quite honestly, you really open up our eyes as to what it is we can do. It's
Well,
like you
thanks.
don't know you can do it unless somebody else shows you,
Yeah.
and you show us.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody and say how much I appreciated all the feedback at the RPM in St. Louis. It was really very gratifying to see how many people watched the show and really liked my segment. And, it makes me feel good to know that people are watching what we're doing.
There
So
evidently
thanks.
are a lot. Lionel tells me that he's heard a lot of feedback, and I'm not
Absolutely.
just trying to get you to talk,
No.
but that's the first thing you said when you walked up the driveway. It was,
Absolutely. I said to you,
You're like-
do you know what you're doing here?
that's what he said. He's like, "Do you know what it is? Do
I
you
think-
know what kind of effect this is having on?" And it is changing things up. It's showing that the internet has the potential to deliver information in a positive
Yeah.
manner where people actually want to go to it. It's like if you want something, it's yours, and this is yours. We do this because it belongs to all of us. If we didn't do it, who would do it? This is our Model Railroad show where we just get together on Saturday night and do otherwise what we would normally do anyway. Mike would bring down his freight cars and show us, look what I did. Dave Davis used to come over here with some of the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
But the difference between those Saturday nights and this Saturday night is first starting with Bachmann as our sponsor of the What's Neat show. We've got this incredible table saw over here that they sent us. Daniel, you're going to kind of explain to us a
That was
little bit
smooth.
about this.
That was
Okay.
smooth. That was
Right.
smooth. That was
Yeah.
But
smooth.
you've got to
This is-
understand, I had to cut.
Segue.
I'm still working on my military vehicles, and I'm telling you what, I spent a lot of time this week trying to get this military train built, and I had this saw showed up on the back porch. Thank you, Bachmann. And this is just what I needed for cutting my axles. I was cutting steel
Perfect.
pins that were 38 thousandths in diameter, which was the right size axle. And it worked out great, Daniel. And tell us
Great.
about this saw. What's it called? Who makes it?
Process Saw. I think it's a company overseas in Europe somewhere.
But it's in the Bachmann catalog, and
It
Bachmann's
is.
importing it.
So and they're basically imported and all of their other products. But this saw is to take the frustration out of hand cutting your track.
Yeah, it's a track cutter. It says it right here, track cutter for model railroaders. And it's about $149 retail, so street price will be a little bit less than that, of course. And I noticed something about it, Daniel. When we were using it over there, if you press too hard onto the metal rail, it's got an automatic sensor in it that shuts the blade down,
Right.
so you don't damage that blade. And then it'll turn, and also it doesn't turn on until you cut,
Do you want me to demonstrate it real quick?
until you
if I
angle
can?
it. Is it hooked up? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Go ahead, guys.
Okay.
Let's see if it'll work, if you can reach it.
All right. So basically,
You can't talk, though.
I'll talk. Oh, say
Yeah.
Daniel's now reaching for the saw.
There you go.
Yes.
Play by
He's
play.
like, okay, now he's turning it down. Everything's moving.
Quiet in the audience, please.
Ken's afraid that he's going to.
Watch your
There it
fingers.
goes. There it goes.
Oh, there
you-
goes his
yeah,
finger.
Oh.
Somebody call 911.
No, don't call 911. They'll actually come. Don't do
You
that.
could take your eye out with that thing.
So I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, after that, and this thing, okay, yeah, that was kind of on a crooked slant. But anyways, this thing, though, does cut real slick. And then the red, there's adjustments to where you can widen those two red fences out to match the width of your track. And
Look what
Ken
I got
has,
here. Look at this. Now, I can't help myself. When I get a tool, I start thinking right away, what can I do to it to make it fit the way I use it? And right away, I routed out a piece of wood here that is just the right size. And this is a test board. I'll actually make a really nice real one next week or the week after. Daniel, can you throw this, or somebody
Yeah.
throw this in there?
Yeah, let's see Dirk. Dirk, we need you, Dirk on camera.
I
Yeah.
know, Dirk.
We
I
need
know.
more
Can you
Dirk.
do 4
More
things at one
Dirk.
time? I know.
Oh,
Lionel.
sweet.
Wow, like a glove.
That is
Look
sweet.
at that.
Check
that
it
is
out.
slick.
Now
That is-
now you could make that board 14 or 15 inches wide and make yourself a work surface if you're cutting up trestle bents that are 3 feet long and you want to help guide
There you
yourself
go.
to the saw.
Yeah.
This will create sort of a saw table effect. And if there's a way to turn the blade sideways, which I haven't investigated that yet, there may be that's bolted on. I could actually make it where it's a saw where I could run the woodwork through the saw instead of just a chop saw. So I got different ideas on that. I'm going to explore further and I'll keep you posted on what I come up with. Not to be unfair now, we also have to talk about Athearn. And Daniel, tell me, I've got a bunch of Athearn engines on the table, but these are two of my favorites this week. What are those called?
I believe they are the ES44 DC's General Electric made models, so they're technically the GEVOs.
Great, and I've got some beautiful outdoor photography of these. If not, I'm going to shoot them because they're so pretty. One of them's got just the regular BNSF lettering on it in yellow, and then the swoosh. And that's when they went from the color change on the top where it was a greenish color to the black. And I got to tell you what, Athearn nailed it. I really
They
appreciate
did.
the fact these have been pulling my military train for the last 2 weeks down here, and I just love looking at them because they're better than brass. They're beautiful models. Check them out. They're on the Athearn website at athearntrains.com. And Daniel, tell me, you've got some yellow locomotives here. What's the story on that?
Okay, so first we want to start with this one in front of me. Most of you guys know this is a new Tier 4 from Intermountain. Skill Trains makes them too. I think Intermountain and Skill Trains are the only ones at the moment that have made and produced the Tier 4 locomotive. This one is Austin Allard's Intermountain locomotive without the Loc sound, but there's a DCC Loc pilot decoder, so it's still DCC control. It's got the bearing caps roll when the wheels turn,
Man.
so they're not just stationary. And they got beautiful LEDs on them. It's like the real prototype. So, all right. And then following with that, here's an engine of mine, this tunnel motor unit, the SD45-2, that I did a DCC decoder install. As many of you guys know, I'm kind of a DCC nut. So
Really?
took out the factory board, pulled the bulbs out, put LEDs in. And I also modified the ditch lights. From stock, the ditch lights would just be a cast. There's no light bulbs in it, just a front and rear headlight. I put LEDs in them. Soundtrack's Economy decoder and a speaker right underneath the dynamic brake vent there in the center. So, and then that other one, it is mine. I know it's looks kind of beat up. It was an older model. It's an IHC 210-2 steam engine. I put a Soundtrack's Economy 200 decoder into. The sound is great. I got 2 oval speakers in the tender and a current keeper to maintain power, so in case I hit a dead frog, the engine will not stall out. So, also real quick, I want to say thank you to those who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, and also check out Mitch McAdams' YouTube channel, Sensei Sean. He's got a lot of great videos. So that's about it. Unless you want me to tell me about that. Diesels.
Before we start talking about that, I do want to say one thing that's really exciting about the show this week, and starting this month, we also have ScaleTrains.com as a new sponsor for the What's
look at
Neat
here.
This Week podcast. And we've got their ScaleTrains.com Tier 4 locomotives. I've got photographs of the Tier 4 locomotives, both in the Rivet Counter series, and it wasn't called museum
Operator.
quality. Operator series, that's right. The Rivet Counter being more detailed than the Operator series, whereas the Operator series was a locomotive that was designed where you could put your own handrails on for those guys that still love modeling trains. Discounted price for doing that. They've also got these available in N scale. And I've got some pictures of the N-scale model here. It's absolutely amazing. And plus, look forward to their brand new SD40-2s. Those are pre-orders, and we'll feature those later in the month. So I'd like to welcome them very much to sponsoring the What's Neat This Week podcast, ScaleTrains.com, innovative scale train design. It's just an amazing company. Shane Wilson and all those guys over there, Paul Ellis, they're just a bunch of great fellas at Scale Train. So I look forward to working with you every week to find out what's new and exciting coming from your company. So with that ends the 3 sponsors I need to talk about. We're off the clock, and we can talk about what Daniel was about to bring up, and that is that beautiful Athearn, what's it called, engine?
SD60E.
SD60E. It was a support our troops locomotive. I did some photo shoots with that this week. One on a turntable scene where the sun came out, and then the other photo that I did, I'm going to show you this one. This one rocks. Here's a couple angles of it too. This was the outdoor shoot where I build this bridge. It's many feet long, 5 feet, 6 feet long, and I've got videotape of the photo shoot. You can see the overall scene here, but what really came out great was the individual photographs. The first shots were taken around noon, where the engine was sort of shadowed, and the shots looked just like the prototype picture that we were trying to copy that I've showed you previously on the show. And then the second set of shots took place 4 hours later when the sun moved, and it lit up the side of the bridge and lit up the side of the locomotives, so much so that I didn't even want to weather the bridge. The water, the bridge, everything went together great to recreate this shot of this locomotive pulling this military train across this bayou. It was an amazing week to see the shoot go together right before your eyes. That's the benefit of my job. I love that part, Lionel. I love that part.
Oh man, do you ever sleep? Seriously,
I
do
get
you
8
ever
hours.
sleep?
I slept 7 last night, but I could have slept 8.
Or
But
I get a good 8 hours, but it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It only matters how much work you get done during the time you're awake. So
Right.
if I work 22 hours straight, and then I sleep for 8 hours, and I'll work 22 and then 8 and 22 and 8, and by then it's night and day, night and day.
Wow.
There's no such thing as time. There's only what do you get done in the allotted time you have.
Yep.
yeah.
And it all gets done, and it's all positive and rock and roll.
You
Everybody's
were-
happy. The wife is happy. The lights are on.
You
It's
were-
a happy show.
You wear me out. You wear me out. Seriously, you wear me out.
Joshua fed us barbecue tonight.
Yeah.
Look at
Mm,
this.
How
It was
cool was
good.
that?
Look at this footage
my
of
God.
him cutting this meat like he's a professional
Brisket.
because he is. That
And ribs.
brisket. So Lionel showed up just in time for dinner.
Yes, I did. I did.
And Lionel started doing interviews
Yeah.
with a couple of
I
us.
got
So
like
why
the-
don't you talk about that tonight?
Okay, so I have a podcast for those of you who don't know, Modeler's Life. It's on
Yeah,
iTunes.
check 'em out.
They
Many
got its stickers.
souvenirs and-
There you go.
And here comes a B-roll of you guys doing an interview. now.
Exactly. So then I brought my little portable recorder that my friend Shane Mason taught me how to use, and I interviewed all you guys, and it was really, really cool because we sat outside at one end of your G-scale layout, and it was like, it's beautiful. Mississippi
you
River.
were interviewing Mike Budde first, right?
No.
Who was
No,
first?
I didn't.
Daniel.
Mike.
Daniel.
Daniel
Oh,
was
Daniel.
first.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it was me.
So that's how I've been watching on video. I didn't recognize your face on the video a few seconds ago, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was beautiful weather out there, and he's
Absolutely.
actually out there working, doing his production of his show. He's got his Zoom recorder, 2 microphones, simple setup. His voices sounded good.
Yeah, it sounded
and
good.
that just means that I'm talking. We can see more B-roll because the weather's
Yeah.
so nice. It was nice out there. Look at the tiki torches.
The Garden Railroad is running real well, too.
Oh,
It was.
Yes.
Flawless.
And at the end, Dirk got interviewed, and everybody
Yeah.
else left. It was just you and Dirk by
It was
yourselves
Dirk.
out there.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, I didn't really want to interview him, but he kept butting in. He kept
know.
saying, "Can I be interviewed?" Finally, I had to say, "Okay."
I
okay.
need some more Dirk.
I kept pulling on his shoulder.
And the Garden Railroad was running beautifully while you were doing your interviews. 'Cause
Yeah.
Joshua and, oh my God, Austin
Austin
Aller and
and-
Yes.
Mitchell. The podcast that we did 2 weeks ago, whenever that one was.
Number
got
43.
like 10,000 views. I don't remember when that one was. Right before the Prototype Modelers meet, whenever that was. After the show, we went out and worked on the Garden Railroad. And I told the guys, I'm going to work until 6 a.m. They're like, so are we. So we all worked out there until the sun came up, getting the Garden Railroad running. We've got nighttime video footage of this.
Wow.
I can run some footage. I know I got 7 clips of you guys out there
Yeah.
hooking the track together, putting the segments together, lining everything up, replacing ties, and soldering. And we got it to run for the Prototype Modelers meet.
It was really dark. That's why you didn't see me working there.
So
Oh
rock
yeah,
and roll.
you're down at the other end. I
Yeah,
think.
right.
Yeah.
Working hard.
So that's part of the fun of model railroading is to keep your Garden Railroad running. And I don't know what I'm done with talking after that one.
I had a question. Wait a minute. Let me think.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Let me think.
Oh, I
Let me
hear
think.
some. I got Joe Fugate's name written here.
Oh yeah.
You know
Let's
that
talk-
guy?
Oh, I got.
You know that guy?
I know Joe Fugate. I got a question about Joe Fugate
Joe
because you know him really good.
Fugate. I always
Fugate.
say Fugate.
Fugate.
It's
Is it-
Fugate.
yes.
It's
Is it
not
Jo-
Chris Palomares. It's
Mares.
Palomares.
Is it Joe?
It's Joe.
Okay.
Is it
Yeah.
Lionel?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Lionel.
So did you get your Christmas stocked up, or is that an old joke? I mean, you're a big thing around the Christmas tree.
Oh, I'm huge.
Family business.
I'm big everywhere.
You just don't tell nobody
just
that you
huge.
really are the roots of the big business.
Exactly. I'm
Yes.
huge. I'm big everywhere.
That wasn't even funny. Go ahead.
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. So Joe Fugate, I have a message. I have a message for Joe Fugate because I know he's probably Joe. You'll have on your forum. You'll get guys will start arguing back and forth, and all of a sudden you'll come in like Dad and go, "Okay, that's it. We're stopping now." And it's like just when it gets good, Joe comes in like Dad and goes, "We're not doing this anymore. We're not talking anymore." And I like Joe, come on, Dad, come on.
Ed Dressel's going to hate me. He does that when he holds the camera for me. He'll just turn it off in the middle of an interview. And I'm like, I thought I was doing fine. He's like, no, you did something wrong. And I was like, Ed, stop it. Poor Ed.
How long have you been working for Joe?
Joe Fugate, I called him up. I heard his name on the Scotty Mason show over and over and over again. Hey, it's the e-zine. It's that easy zine or whatever. You can't read it on the toilet, but it's there. And it sounded interesting to me, this internet. Thing.
I asked you not to mention Scott. I just said, can we try to get through one show without
Scotty Mason influenced me. The fact that he had the the desire to do what he did to start his podcast when
Did Scotty bring you
when
stickers?
in fact, and I don't mean to be insulting the way I say this, but the fact is Scott didn't have like 250 articles and do all the time that I
Right.
did to try to be known, and he's got a podcast.
Right.
And I thought, well, why couldn't I take what it is I've already stacked up as experience and create something like that? And I thought Scott's show was a TV show. Dave Davis called me up and said, oh my God, they got a show. And I was like, all the air just went out of me because I was like, somebody else did it first. And no, it was a talk show like yours.
Right. So let me ask you a question. When you're working down here by yourself and there's nobody around and you have a podcast on, which one is it?
It's yours, Scotty and Mike Rose, because I like listening to somebody talk while I'm working in the shop because I don't have to watch the
Hello?
screen.
Can you see me? Hello, I'm here.
What did I just say? Did I say yours?
Yeah.
Yours isn't the right
He
answer.
said yours. And Scotty
it's
Mason.
just that you
and-
said someone else's.
Yeah,
along
it's
with
like
his.
exactly. Hey, and you know what? I think show
This
43.
show is live.
It is. It's live, and I think show 43 was a watermark for you guys.
Amazing amount of people. 2 soundtracks and look sound side by side. It's never been done before on video.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Was there
never
like
been
a?
done.
Was there?
It was a hair. It was driving me crazy.
Was there like a cage match between George Bogota and?
No, George was a diplomat. I think Matt might have had a few little nips, But we jokingly said, in this corner George Bogatuk and in this corner Matt Herman. But why? Because they're both successful manufacturers that are in 90% of the stuff already out there. So they're kings. Let them be king. Let them have fun.
Right.
I love them both.
We all have the same passion.
They're our friends.
Yep.
Both of them.
Yep.
And Kevin Rubel was here. Do you think Kevin would talk to
What
me?
an honor to sit next to him. I
It was
love
nice
his
to see him.
smile.
He was great.
Kevin has got a smile.
I'll talk
I
to
wanna
Kevin
learn
and see
how
if
to
I can get
smile
you an
like that.
appointment with him.
That guy
Yes,
is
see if you can
brilliant.
get me an appointment with him.
I
Lee.
will.
Because he seems like the kind of guy that would see me coming and go, "Get out of here."
He's hard to book.
I just want to go to Denver and go walk in his hobby shop and say, hey,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
here.
Well, instead of Disneyland next year, Mom, we're going to Caboose in Lakewood,
Right.
Colorado.
Caboose Land.
Caboose.
Hey, if I say it right, do I take the $1 back out of the jar again?
Caboose
Yeah.
Train.
think
Because
it
you've
works
got to
like
understand,
that.
so many people, it's been advertised in our head like the drug war for 75 years, Caboose hobbies. It's just how it's in our
Yeah.
heads. So when you normally say it, and I'm guilty of this, but they taught me how not to be. But it is, in fact, just simply called Caboose in Lakewood, Colorado, and they want it to be that way.
Okay.
So, rock
And
and
they
roll.
have a caboose in the parking lot.
Yes,
Do they?
they do. I can't wait to
Very
sit in
nice,
that
yeah.
caboose.
What kind
And-
of caboose? Like, what is it? What road name?
I'm showing
Rio
you
Grande.
pictures.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rio Grande.
Pictures. Somewhere
Yeah.
I had a video of them loading it. It was really cool. Time lapse video.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook today, and they had a kid's birthday party in the caboose
Oh,
today.
Oh, that's
How
cool.
about
Cool would
that?
that be?
Way to go.
That's
you know,
great.
guys, my birthday's coming up. Just to let you know.
Okay.
So,
Well-
Yeah.
if we want to go to Colorado, I'll have a birthday party in the caboose.
Okay.
All right, me and Joshua are in the cupola.
The Cupola?
And where am I?
Absolutely. You're
you
going
were-
to Disneyland.
Yeah, yeah. How's that truck going? How's your new truck going, Daniel?
Oh, mine?
Oh, that looked nice. It pulled up this driveway. I didn't even know
Yeah.
who it was this week. It was Daniel. Nice
Yeah.
truck, Daniel.
Yeah. He's
They're getting
styling
off
now.
the subject of trains. People are tuning out.
Yeah,
but
no,
we-
they're not. No, they're not.
No.
We're finding. You know what? People want to know about you and what you're doing here and all the stuff because just the way it looks on the video is the way it is. Like this is my first time here, and it's tons of hospitality and
Yep.
lots of friendliness and food. Not food. There isn't necessarily
good
food every
food,
time,
good
but there was this time. And
Did you think that the setup, the pre-show, was crazy, or did you think it was relatively calm?
I think it was relatively calm.
he's not talking to you. He's talking. To
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of. Well, I just said I was shocked.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty cool. Like I thought it was about the way I would have expected it. Like it's a lot of work and there's a lot to
Yeah.
going into it, but it seemed pretty good.
Right.
Right. It was tough to open the show with that story, that AFFA
Right.
technology story. But I'm not going to end the show with that. Why did I even bring that up again? Boy,
I
it's
think
been
things
weighing
will
in my
bounce
mind
back.
heavily. I've been thinking about it a lot.
Well, it's a huge,
Right.
shock to the
It'll have a
industry.
ripple effect. You're going to see look
Right.
sound and
Right.
soundtracks, decoders that were supposed to be in those engines now not being put in them, so there'll be a delay on that. So those companies are going to feel it. Will it trickle down to the hobby shop level? It's
got
just
it. It's
imagine
got it.
how long it'll take though, because they've still got inventory in stock.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. Don't get us on that subject.
Don't
We
get
can't
me
solve the
started.
problem, but that is news in the industry, and that's what this show is about. That if we hear something new, positive, negative, happy, or otherwise, we will at least kind of sort of discuss it a little bit because it is something that affects the best hobby in the
Absolutely.
world, our hobby. And if there's anything that we could do for any of these companies, we would. If I was the millionaire, I'd start that co-op I talked about.
Yeah, you would.
And I'd get you to run it. You'd
absolutely
be a
management.
great referee.
Management.
Yeah,
I'd be
definitely,
management.
definitely.
Absolutely, I would.
Oh my
I'd
God,
be good at
that'd be
management.
Call
perfect
it
for you.
Lionel
Yeah,
Corporation.
no, I think we could just call it. We could call.
Oh, is that name taken? That's
Yeah,
a
that's-
good name.
it might
Yeah,
be.
exactly. We could call it Mike's place, but I'd be management.
Okay.
You know,
All right,
I'd
guys.
order
Mike and
them.
Lionel.
You know what? I haven't paid attention to the clock, but I imagine we're coming to an end. Is it time for us to set up some more trains? Have you been looking at the clock, Austin? How long
That's
are we
about
into the
35
show?
minutes.
35 minutes.
We're into it at 35. We're already
sir.
over. But the beauty of this one is it's a camera-to-camera edit. And I've got to get this thing edited and look forward to seeing all you guys at the NMRE National next week in Kansas City on
Yeah.
Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, and part of Sunday. Going to do a lot of interviews out there. We just finished doing a lot of interviews at the Prototype Modelers Meet. That's going to run in our September show, which I will finish putting that together by Tuesday. And the August show just came out. And in the August show, which is the August 2018 What's Neat at Model Road Hobbyist Magazine, we look at Rick Huntrod's beautiful HON3 layout. This was a colorful layout with lots of trees. It was gorgeous. Ron Pear shows us how to build these brick buildings and put color and details on them. We look at Pete Doty's Wharf layout. This is an HO scale layout that had beautiful painted backdrops. People have commented about his backdrops. Mike Budde shows us how to do his foil wrecked vehicles. People have said they want to know more about that. And so Mike's going to do another video on that, doing in-depth, actually cutting and showing us each step instead of just talking about it. So that's going to be covered. Stephen M. Conroy's beautiful business train, that gorgeous 1943 pulling the 20 Union Pacific passenger cars through California. You know, that video is going to cost us all money because now we all want to model that train, just like I'm building this military train, which is just setting me back. But it's my most favorite project that I'll talk about for the next 6 months as I work on these vehicles. And that's what it's all about, so we can share our modeling projects and share the best hobby with you in the world. So at this point, guys, I think I love having Lionel here. I wish we could
Yes.
stay here and talk for an hour.
Yeah,
I love you,
we
brother.
could, but people, you're right. People are getting sleepy now.
You
Yeah.
want to close out number 43 for me, Lionel?
Okay, that's it. Show number. I think this was number 44.
Was it number
44,
44?
Yeah, we already 43.
Good thing we got
This
him
is-
here.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Lionel.
Yeah,
Yes.
double
You can
fours.
tell he's a
Yeah,
professional.
exactly. Stickers. All right, so that's it. This is show number 44. It's been cool. It is exactly the way it looks on the video. I had so much fun being here with you guys. You especially, Daniel. You were my favorite.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
How's my hair?
It's looking good.
Okay.
It's Lionel,
Good as
right?
always.
Yeah, it is Lionel.
Lionel.
Yeah.
Lionel touch.
Strikingly handsome.
Let's go run some trains, guys.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah. What's the deal with Austin? I mean, Austin's like, what is this guy do? I don't know. What did he do? What did he impress himself in the dark?
I think so. Be careful. I might be homeless.
He's lucky I'm a Packers fan too.
Yeah, Packers.
Otherwise,
You're a Packers fan too?
I am.
Who's your
You gotta
favorite
join
guy?
the club.
No, the Jets. I'm a Jets guy. Joe Namath is my guy.
Brett Favre.
Farber? Brett Favre?
Barbara. Not to be confused with Farber from Super Troopers.